Who dey?
Who that?
Yeah, yeah. It looks like Daniel Barry beat us. I was trying to set a few things up, so we're running a few minutes behind here. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It is happy Wednesday, everybody, and happy May 28th, which in football universe is not much. Nothing going on. It's like
A
for the
lot more about
Bengals,
this
we're
stuff.
dealing with contract issues still. Like Shamar
We're
Stewart.
dealing with no quarterback play.
Yeah, y'all got no quarterback, but y'all don't have any games either coming up. We got like Trey Hendrickson drama still. Shamar Stewart won't sign his contract. Demetrius Knight, I guess, isn't signing his contract. I don't fucking know. But like Joe Burrow didn't sign his contract till like late June anyway. So I think people just need to chill out. Now on the Trey
That's
Hendrickson
nice.
thing, that shit's annoying. But on the draft picks, like chill out, people. It's May. Calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So basically, concept of what we're doing today is we're going to go through every division in the NFL, and we're basically going to build out kind of like a fantasy roster, more or less. Like like basically starting like a starting offense. We're not really gonna, I don't think, worry too much about like getting in the weeds with like offensive line because like that's boring. Nobody wants to talk about that. Um, like, and we'll do like who's got the best defense in the division and stuff like that. But like for the most part, I don't think we should do. I don't think we should. Oh, should we do kickers?
And that'll be interesting,
It
I
might be
guess.
interesting. Like I'm not. I can't sit here and say I know off the top of my head who's the kicker on every NFL team though. But I guess we
Yeah,
can
but I
find
think you
out
can
together.
probably name like the best kickers in the division.
Do what?
I think you can probably name like the best kickers in like most of the divisions. I mean, that's really what we're basing the show off of today. So.
Maybe it depends on some divisions. Like for example, the AFC South. Like I can't think of a single thing that I care about in the AFC South right now. Um, Nor off the top of my head can I name any of their kickers. Like, uh,
Kyrie Fairbairn.
let's see, you named one of them. I would not have gotten him. I do. I know
Matt
who that
Gay.
is now that you mention him, but I wouldn't have thought of him off the top of my head.
Is Matt Gay still in the Colts?
That's kind of what I was thinking, but I don't. He might be. I was thinking about Matt Gay.
Randy Bullock was in Titans, but I don't think he's there anymore.
I don't know. All I know is he sucks.
Yeah, that's it.
Matt Gay is on the Commanders.
Oh shoot.
So,
When did
see,
that
that's what I'm
happen?
saying. Nobody cares about the AFC South. Like, do you know anybody on the Jaguars other than Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen and
Yes.
uh,
Brian Thomas.
I forgot Brian. Wait, Brian Thomas. Is he?
Brian Thomas.
Oh, right, the LSU
Brian.
guy. Never mind. Yeah, of course, Brian Thomas. For some reason, I was thinking of some guy who's like got like went in the first round of them years ago who flamed out. You were saying Brian Thomas. I totally forgot that was
Travis Hunter's there. Travis Etienne's there.
okay. Travis
They don't
Hunter
have
barely
Biden,
counts.
but he's there.
Well, he's there, but like I haven't even seen him in a Jag. I'm sure he's been in a Jaguars uniform for like training camp or whatever, but like you haven't even really seen him much with the Jaguars.
Well, they got Travis Hunter. They got Tyson Campbell. They got well, no, Cisco left, so they don't got him no more. But they got Foyce Aluakun. Like they got some guys.
Well, you
They
know
have a
what?
team.
Since we're on the subject, let's go ahead and start with the AFC South. So
Okay.
so we're gonna start like basically we're gonna do QB1 and I think QB2 as well. Um, so best quarterback in that division, I think it pretty clearly is C.J. Stroud. Like I think obviously Cam Ward has potential, but you gotta see it first.
Yeah. Yeah, CJ Stroud's no doubt about it, the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Like nobody in the AFC South can even comes close to him, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
it's like CJ Stroud. What has he done? Right, back to back Ever since getting drafted by Houston, back-to-back division titles, back-to-back years where they won a playoff game, back-to-back 10-win season. Like, bro, you can't compete with that in the
Yeah.
AFC South.
I mean, I do think he's a little overrated sometimes. People act like he's like a top 5 quarterback sometimes.
Well,
But
yeah, well, that is
but
not
he's
true. But
he's pretty damn good. And he's by far and away the best quarterback in that division. So the really the more interesting question is who's QB2, because it's like,
Trevor Lawrence.
well, I mean, like, it technically have to be, but I almost kind of want to say Cam Ward, because like he's got a lot of upside, and I really, I don't know, like Trevor Lawrence is good. I'm really kind of out on Trevor Lawrence, like that like he was supposed to be this generational guy, and he just has never been that in the NFL. Like, he's been pretty good, but not that good. And like I feel like Cam Ward could be better.
Yeah, I understand, but like we haven't seen a snap from Cam Ward yet. So for all we know, he could be
I know.
a bust.
That's why I'm saying like it's tough. Like, I want to say Cam Ward, but like the real answer is Trevor Lawrence. This is obviously QB2. But you know.
I'm sorry, but if you have not played a snap in the NFL, you're already in the default category.
So we're just not giving any love to Anthony Richardson.
No.
I like Anthony Richardson. I still think he could be good, but he does need he doesn't belong anywhere on this list though. He needs to show it first.
Richardson is literally Jalen Milroe.
Well, I also think Jalen Milroe could be better than you think he's going to be.
Bruh, I don't know what your obsession is with Milroe.
I'm not obsessed with him. I think I feel like my opinion is generally about the standard when it comes to Milroe. Like, he's fine.
All right, bro. All right, don't get me heated now.
Don't
get
like,
me heated, bro.
You're over here accusing me of having an obsession with Jalen Milroe. You're the one who's got the strong opinion on him.
Yeah, because he sucks.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That man is just Derek Carr, just with legs.
Derek Carr was once a pretty good quarterback in the NFL.
Exactly.
One who got you excited.
Yeah, and Milroe once was a pretty good quarterback in college, but then he had this past season where he was like, what the heck are you doing, buddy?
That happens in college sometimes.
I don't care.
Okay.
This man was a third-round pick with 6th-round talents. Congratulations. You pick what you want to do with that.
All right. So anybody who's watching in the chat, if we're talking about something and you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead. But let's move on. So running backs. I think we're starting with Jonathan Taylor, right? Like, Jonathan Taylor's RB1.
Yeah. RB1 is Taylor. Nope. Like,
I guess
Joe
it's not
Mixon,
even close.
That's close.
Yeah, Joe Mixon's probably RB2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the next closest. Like, Travis Etienne is terrible. He should not even come up to number 1 or number 2.
I don't think he's terrible.
Or number 2, to be honest with you.
My only thing with Joe Mixon is he's old.
Okay.
By running back standards.
Man, bro, I don't care how old you are. If you're good, you're good.
Yeah, I just don't know how much longer he's going to be good. Is he going to even be good this year? I don't know.
Man, I'm just going off what I saw last, and what I saw last from Mixon, he was pretty dang good. Like,
he was pretty damn good last year.
Like, he was even good in Cincinnati, but they threw him away like trash. And then, he goes to Houston and he has a breakout season. Well, not really breakout season because we already knew he could do that. But it's like,
he was good in Cincinnati. He didn't do as good his last year, but that's 100% because he wasn't well supported. Like the offensive line was not helping him out at all. Now, the Bengals also went in a different direction with their offense. That's part of the reason the Bengals moved on from him, because like Joe Mixon was just playing a different style of football than the one that we were playing. Now, you could also criticize the Bengals for like maybe adjust your scheme for the talent you have in-house, but I don't think we should be adjusting away from Jamar Chase. I just don't. So speaking of which, we're in the AFC South, but let's go ahead and talk about wide receiver 1. Who's the top wide receiver in the AFC South?
Top wide receiver?
Mm-hmm.
I know he only played 1 season, but I do not care. Brian Thomas Jr. takes that role.
Yeah. I mean, like he's definitely got the most upside in the AFC South.
Yeah,
Because really,
bro, the man was like top 3 in receiving yards. I'm pretty sure.
right? I guess my main thing is like they just don't really have a whole lot of talent at wide receiver in the AFC South.
That's what I'm saying.
Because like DeAndre
Nico
Hopkins is
Collins,
gone. Um,
yeah, like Nico Collins and the dude I just named Brian Thomas are the only 2 guys that I feel like even come close to the AFC South best receiver argument.
is Calvin
like,
Ridley
bro,
still in Jacksonville?
No, he's in Tennessee.
Well, so he's still
He's
in the
in
AFC
the-
South then.
Yeah, he's still in the AFC South, just not with.
He could be pretty good. Michael Pittman, actually, I forgot about him.
Man. Bro,
Michael
I
Pittman
love
might
Michael
be too.
Pittman, man. Michael Pittman, bro. That honestly, I think I'm changing. I think he's number 2.
That's what
I'll
I'm
put
saying.
Nico Collins at number 3 probably because like Michael Pittman's been consistent. He's been putting up numbers even with terrible quarterback play.
Yeah.
And he's had a different quarterback every single season. It's like this man, he does a lot with little. He's like, bro, if he had a good quarterback, I could see him being on like, if he had a good consistent quarterback, I could see him being on like some Stephon Diggs, like prime Diggs ish. That's how good I think Pittman could be. But he doesn't really have that good quarterback, so I don't think he can be that unless you have a guy that can get you the ball. So I think he's actually number 2. He's been consistent ever since his rookie year. I think he's great.
Yeah,
but I don't think number 1.
I think. I think it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. If you're good, you're good. Like it'll matter to your numbers at the end of the year for sure. But nobody was sitting here saying that Larry Fitzgerald wasn't maybe the best wide receiver in the NFL just because his quarterback play was trash back when he was at the top of the league.
Well, yeah, but you also can't catch the pass if it's heavily overthrown.
Yeah, neither could Larry Fitzgerald, but he did anyway.
Yeah, because Larry Fitzgerald was a special type of talent.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not necessarily anything. Like it doesn't. Like Michael Pittman obviously could be doing so much more if he had better quarterback play, but that doesn't mean that his talent itself. We're talking about the talent. We're talking about the player themselves. Like if you put this guy on any other team, would he be the best guy on that team? Like how would he compare? Not necessarily just like what are his numbers expected to be this year. Like how good are they like in a vacuum? Like if you give these guys the same quarterback, who's the best wide receiver is basically the question.
Yeah, well, my number 1 receiver is Brian Thomas, number 2 is Pittman, and then number 3 will be Nico Collins if we're doing the top 3 because technically on a team 3 receivers get balls on a lot of times.
I almost kind of want to say Michael Pittman might be better than Brian Thomas, but not potential-wise. Like, potential-wise, Brian Thomas is easily the best in that division. It's just I do feel like I've seen more out of Pittman than I have out of Thomas, but that might change.
Fun fact: I wanted the Saints to draft Michael Pittman, but instead they chose Peyton Turner.
How'd that work out for you?
Not very good. Thanks for asking.
All right, so this next position is going to be just like I don't know how we're gonna pick between these absolute studs. Like we've like there's no competition here. These guys are just the cream of the crop, best position in the entire NFL, and that's AFC South tight ends.
Bro, I don't know one starting tight end in that division other than other than Tyler Warren. Bro, Dalton Schultz maybe. Yes.
Schultz is pretty consistent, so you got to give him credit for that. I don't even think Tyler Warren is Tyler Warren even the starter. Isn't Jelani Woods the starter?
It's the same thing like I said with Cam Ward. If you ain't playing, then you're defaulted. I'm sorry. I gotta see some before I can give you any credit.
So I'm gonna make the argument that like Dalton Schultz is pretty good. I think Evan Ingram might be the best tight end in that division.
Ingram's not in Jacksonville no more.
Oh, he's not?
He's with the Broncos.
It's a nice pickup by the Broncos. Okay, so there's nobody in Jacksonville. All right, so it's I mean with so just by default then Dalton Schultz is the best tight end in that division because he's the only one who's any good.
Yeah, Sugar Conquo was like the second best tight end, and he's mid.
I don't even know if he's the I don't even know if he's the say I think you brought up a good point with Tyler Warren. I don't even think he's the starter, and I think he might be the second best in that division.
Yeah, well,
because like Jelani Woods isn't, but Jelani Woods is starting.
Yeah, but it's like crazy. It's like I've seen some things out of Chicago, so I would put him at second. Like I said, I'm not putting any rookies high unless I actually see them do good this season. Then okay, I can put you up high no matter how good you did. Because I don't want to say Tyler Warren's gonna be good and then just bust out. Because I ain't trying to do that. So it's like, yeah, I think Don Schultz by far. Like, bro, I ain't trying to go into the season with Brandon Strange as my number one tight end. I'm sorry, that's not happening. So, yeah, I think the number one tight end has to be Don Schultz.
Yeah, I'm guessing Tyler Warren probably will be. I think Jelani Woods was starting last year more by default, but I think Tyler Warren probably will be the starter there this year. And then honestly, probably I would think Mo Alley Cox would start or would get more snaps over Jelani Woods. But yeah. I don't know.
Maybe I like Mo Alley Cox. Yeah, I think Mo Alley Cox is a tight end that's like okay, you can get 500 yards and maybe 3 touchdowns for him, but he's not gonna put up like no Travis Kelce numbers. Okay.
All right, so those are all the skill positions on offense, right? Like if we're doing a fantasy roster, that's all the offensive positions, right?
Yes.
So who's got the best defense in that division?
The best defense, so you got Texans, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. The Titans defense, it's whatever. The Colts defense is kind of underrated, but Jacksonville and Houston, I feel like, are fighting for that title, and I think I'll have to give it to Houston as of right now.
I think definitely Houston, and really, I think like. I don't know. I like some of what Jacksonville's done with their defense in the offseason, but I think still, like, purely because of DeForest Buckner, I think the Colts kind of have like an ace card there. But I think the Texans have built their defense the best. Like, they've got the strongest base. I mean, like, in the what's it? In the thumbnail that I made for the video, I got Will Anderson Jr. in that thumbnail. I picked 4 guys from the entire AFC, and Will Anderson Jr. is one of them. So I think the Texans clearly are, at the very least, the most talented defense in that division.
Yeah, I also think they got a lot of depth, too.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and that's something Jacksonville doesn't really have. They lost Cisco. It's like, and then the Colts, they got Buckner, and I don't even know if they have Kenny Moore still. It's like, okay, what are the Colts even doing on defense? It's like, I do think they have an underrated defense, just not one that whenever you think defense, you don't think Colts automatically. And and also Tennessee, they're just trying to see what sticks at this point.
No love for the Titans defense?
No. They lost Harold Landry. What is there to be excited about if you're a Titans fan?
Okay, so who's the best kicker then in that division? I think it's Khair Fairbairn. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Miami Fairbairn.
Yeah, well, I think it's him because that's the only one whose name I remember.
Same. I remember Matt Gay, but before the show,
he's not.
He wasn't even.
Yeah. I don't even know who the like. I don't even know who the other kickers are.
That's another kicker. Cam Little.
Little?
He's solid. That's his name. The dude from Jacksonville, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I know.
The Jaguars always have pretty solid kickers. Like Josh Scobie was like a mainstay there forever. Until he went to Pittsburgh and became my favorite kicker of all time because he was good with the Jaguars and horrendous with the Steelers.
Sounds about right.
It was great. It was beautiful.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't have much to say about the kickers because like I don't know. I don't even know who. I guess I could figure it out. Who's the Titans kicker?
I don't know.
Because it was Randy Bullock, and frankly they get points off just for that alone.
They had Kate York at
Their
one
current
point.
kicker is Joey Sly.
Oh, he went to Dempsey?
Yeah, they signed him back in March.
Oh. I think
Apparently.
I think he's solid, but I don't think he's better than O'Connor McFairbairn now.
And then who the Colts? The Colts kicker is
Their mascot.
what?
Their mascot.
There might be. Yeah, they released Matt Gay back in April apparently.
Or do they have a kicker?
Because of belief. Here we go. Because of belief in Spencer Schrader. So I guess Spencer Schrader is the guy they're going with.
Oh, he must be a rookie or something.
Then maybe. Oh. No, he's a second-year kicker.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. Okay, yeah. Can we move on to the next division now?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and say Spencer Schrader is not going to get the thing. But yeah, anyway, yeah, so that's the AFC South. That was interesting. Let's do that. Let's do the AFC West. So the best quarterback in that division is obviously, without a doubt, Aiden O'Connell. So we can move on.
Okay. It's Patrick Mahomes, and number 2 is Justin Herbert. Now we can move on.
I think number 2 might be Bo Nix, honestly.
No.
Because Justin Herbert is like really talented, but he's so inconsistent. And like, I don't know, what I saw out of Bo Nix was that I saw a guy who was, you know, maybe not going to be like the next like Patrick Mahomes, but he was consistent. He was a guy who could like the Broncos can rally around and like build something. Whereas Justin Herbert's night and fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, you don't ever know what you're getting out of Justin Herbert.
Well, yeah. Well, Bo Nix was also kind of inconsistent too. You know.
At times, he was also a rookie. I feel like he was a lot more reliable than Justin Herbert.
I mean, to be fair, who was Herbert throwing the ball to last year?
I mean, I guess, but I mean, like, Joe Burrow threw like 400 yards one time when like his top receivers were Trent Irwin and Mason Schreck. You know who either of those guys are?
Who is he playing against?
We don't have to talk about who he's playing against.
Okay, then.
But that's not the point. It's not the point. He had nobody to throw to, and he still made it work. Like, I was, Justin Herbert, suck it the fuck up.
Yeah, well, still, I still think Herbert is better overall than Bo Nix.
Well, you know what? Let's see what PFF has to say about that, because that will determine it. All right. So Justin Herbert, according to PFF, Bo Nix had a PFF grade, a passing PFF grade of 73.8. All right, and so let's see where Justin Herbert is. He had a grade of. Okay, so we can go ahead and move on to the AFC. We're in the AFC West. So he had a grade of 90.2, by the way. So I'm just wrong apparently.
Okay. Dead wrong.
Yeah, I'm dead fucking wrong apparently. PFF says he had a pretty good year last year. I don't know. I see a guy every time I watch the Chargers. It's like he has like 5 terrible plays and 2 good ones, and then 5 more terrible plays and then 2 good ones, and then it's just like it's up and down. You don't know what you're getting out of the guy. But maybe I'm just weighting it too much. I don't know.
Okay, running back time.
Okay. Running backs in the AFC West. Because Josh Jacobs is in the is in Green Bay now. So is Javonte Williams the best running back in that division?
Nope. He went to Dallas.
Oh, well, god damn. Who's left?
I think the number one is probably Najee Harris, and the number 2 is probably Isaiah Pacheco.
I don't. It just feels wrong for Isaiah Pacheco to be like highly considered running back in that division. I get you're right. Like establishment wise, like I mean, who's even the starting running back for the Raiders and the Broncos now?
Ashton Genty, I don't know.
So Ashton Genty might be the best, honestly. Like I mean, I know we haven't. Again, I know he's a rookie. I know we haven't seen any snaps out of him, but I promise you, he's better than Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, probably. I ain't gonna lie. I think I have to bend my own rules over. Yeah, I think Ashton Genty's probably actually the second best bet.
Yeah. So, who is number one?
Number one was Najee Harris, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like we can keep the. I think Ashton Genty will be way better, but you know let's see it first. But I still think we need to just like draw a line at some point. Like talent matters, even if you haven't seen it yet. Talent matters at some point. And Isaiah Pacheco's fine, but he's not like the fact that he was the second best showed a severe lack. But that's partly because the Raiders have a rookie at the position. So, but yeah, that's fine. We could put Najee Harris first. I don't know what I saw out of Najee Harris in Pittsburgh was a guy who was really talented and got. I think he's lost a step over time just because the Steelers were a bad situation for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that. Wide receivers in the AFC West.
Chiefs, Broncos. I didn't. But the number one there might be Ladd McConkey.
I was gonna say, I was gonna ask though, do we put DeAndre Hopkins up here? I mean, he's not even their number one receiver, but talent wise,
DeAndre's not in the AFC West no more.
Oh fuck it! God damn.
I'm
just getting roasted tonight.
What'd you say?
I'm just getting roasted tonight.
Bro, he's in Baltimore, dude.
Oh right, shit, I forgot. God damn it.
You of all people should know that.
Dude, I don't care about the Ravens. I do not care about the Ravens. Like, I mean, obviously I care about the Ravens, but like, the Ravens keep on bringing in talented guys, and they never actually get any better. Like, we need to beat them at some point, but that's got everything to do with us and nothing to do with the guys they're bringing in. That's got everything to do with us just being completely incompetent at the worst possible fucking times.
Same.
Okay, so then
yeah, the number one might be
Xavier Worthy. Then I think would probably be the best.
Worthy's number two.
But Ladd McConkey, I don't think this is one of those situations where we can break the rule for that. Like, I don't think Ladd McConkey's so far and away better than everybody else that we're gonna break the rule.
Man, Brad, first of all, there's no rule to break. Second of all, Ladd McConkey.
You just talked about the rule on the last one.
I said about rookies. I never said about sophomores.
Yeah, but we haven't hardly seen anything out of Ladd McConkey.
Yes, we did.
Not anything.
He was incredible.
Not at times.
Bro, in fact, what did this man do last year? Ladd McConkey sounds like a cartoon goose, by the way.
It kind of does.
Let me see. 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good. Plus 82 receptions too. Now we compare that to the Xavier Worthy. Only 600 yards and 6 touchdowns.
He's also got a lot more competition in that offense.
Bruh, you know it dang well. If he was not in the Chiefs system, he would have only had, like, he would probably had the same or worse numbers. Like, bro, he was in the Chiefs system and couldn't even get 1,000 yards. So that's insane, man.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of competition. Like, Patrick Mahomes distributes the ball. Like, Ladd McConkey had 112 targets. Xavier Worthy didn't even have 100.
Weren't you the same one that was saying that quarterbacks don't make receivers or whatever?
No, but targets, like, if we're talking about stats, targets make a difference.
Uh-huh. Worthy also didn't really have that much competition when Rashee Rice got hurt. D-Hop was there, but he wasn't anything spectacular. Like,
Well, he's got D Hop. He doesn't have like a ton of.
Hollywood got hurt. He wasn't even playing last year. Xavier Worthy was supposed to be this all elite guy that he was brought in to do, and like he wasn't. Like 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like that's not bad numbers. Like I'm still giving him credit to be the number 2 receiver in the AFC West, but it's like I just don't see him on like a Lab and Conkey level. In fact, I would actually consider Cortland Sutton over Xavier Worthy.
I was actually just thinking that, like, not necessarily over Xavier Worthy, although I guess based off, you're making a pretty good argument, but I think we've kind of forgot, like, we're kind of sleeping on Cortland Sutton. Like he's really
like,
good.
This man makes an incredible catch like almost every single week. Like
I know,
I don't
right?
know how this man does it. Like the man, like could be like almost 10 feet out of bounds and still come up with a touchdown. Like the man just does not drop passes. It's like it's in his blood to catch everything.
So we're not gonna put Jacoby Myers on this list.
Boo hoo! No Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
Shut up.
All right. Okay. All right. So I think we've got the list here then. Okay, so we did quarterback, we did wide receiver. So tight end. Brock Bowers.
Yeah, it's Brock Bowers. Then it's who's number 2? Would it be Evan Ingram or Travis Kelce?
No, I don't think it's Travis Kelce. I think a couple of years ago it was Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is washed, honestly.
All right, so we're putting who's the Chargers? Well, the Chargers they don't.
I mean, funnily enough, I would almost put Michael Mayer at number 2.
Oh my god!
I mean, the Raiders are just overpowered at tight end, to be honest with you.
I think Evan Ingram's at least good enough to be number 2. I would say Michael Mayer might be number 3. Was it? I mean, shoot, you actually might. Hold on, let me pull it up. What did Michael Mayer do? I mean, Michael Mayer is solid. I mean, I'll put him at maybe number 3 or number 4, but like I think
he's really talented. But I do think in this case there is like, you know, opportunity. If you're behind Brock Bowers, you're going to lose opportunities. So I thought you said Evan Ingram, right?
Yeah.
I do think we should put Evan Ingram in there.
Yeah,
it's crazy. That dude was basically Evan Ingram was basically a bust for the Giants, and he's really had a career resurgence. Like, give him props.
Bro, he reminds me. He's literally the Zay Jones of tight ends. It's like the boy couldn't catch anything when he was with the Giants. Goes to Jacksonville, you think this man's Tony Gonzalez.
All right, so then to wrap up the AFC West, who's the top kicker?
What about the defense?
Oh yeah, defense.
Defense.
Okay, so who's the top defense then?
Well, the best defense is the Broncos. That's not even in question.
Yeah, I think that's like we don't even really need to talk about it, to be honest with you. Like especially talent wise, like I'll be honest, like the Broncos defense probably doesn't always perform up to the level that it should, but it's like talent wise, the Broncos defense it's like the Texans, like they're so far and away more talented than everybody else in that division.
Yeah, I feel that.
Now I will say results wise, the Chiefs were probably the best defense in like last year for sure. So they very well could be this year.
Yeah, well the thing is the Broncos they did a lot this offseason to improve that defense. And that defense is already good last year.
That is true. But like the Chiefs were like basically the second best defense last year.
They were.
Like in the whole NFL. So
yeah, they were.
Yeah. What about the Raiders?
Who?
The Raiders.
Next. They got Max Crosby.
Don't want to give any credit to the Raiders defense. Yeah, Max Crosby's a really good player. Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, there has to be at least maybe 6 other. Bro, there's 15 guys on or 11 guys on defense, and they got one gym. That's literally the meme of the Bugatti in front of the shed.
Yeah, but which is funny. He's not even the best Bugatti in front of the shed in the NFL. Because that'd be Trey Henderson.
Yeah. I was thinking Myles Garrett, but I guess that would make more sense.
Now the Browns' defense is pretty solid. The Browns' offense was the problem last year. The Browns' defense was pretty good.
Yeah, but Max Crosby, he's great. I'm not taking nothing away from him. Christian Wilkins is also good too. But bro, that Raiders defense is atrocious. They have no corners. In fact, their only corner that they did have, they lost. Nate Hobbs. It's like, bro, who else is even on that team to begin with? I can't even name 4 players on the entire defense. You couldn't pay me to name anybody without looking at the roster. And still, I'll probably mess up the names.
Max Crosby.
Okay. Come on, Kyle. So confident, right?
Is Divine Diablo still there?
No.
Oh fuck.
He's in Atlanta.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Come on, Kyle. What, buddy?
Jack Sawyer.
He's with the Steelers.
Oh no, I'm not thinking of that's not who I was thinking of Jack Ham.
No,
who might have also played for the Steelers.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Yeah, what's up, Jeff? No, that he did play for the Steelers. Shit, who am I thinking of?
Are you thinking about Jack Jones?
Jack Lambert.
Oh.
No, he played for the Steelers too. Fuck.
Well, damn. The Steelers just stay in your mind, huh?
I hate the Steelers. Jack Tatum, that's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, I don't really hate the Steelers. Oh, that's nice. Jack Tatum.
And he was a safety, so fuck me.
Well, was not on that team no more, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Max Crosby, I think, is the only defensive player I can name on that team.
Okay. Best kickers, Will Lutz.
Are you sure? Well, no. Sit down.
But I do.
You don't just get to throw Will Lutz in there.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
He missed 3 field goals the entire year. Why can't I?
Because, okay, so, I mean, maybe last year he was really good, but he's not the best kicker in the NFL.
Ain't that what we're basing this off of?
No, we're basing it off of their overall abilities.
Well, yeah, that too. But still, Will Lutz is the Saints Hall of Famer, and he will always be in the Saints Hall of Fame.
That's great for Will Lutz, but he's not even the second best kicker in that division. Like, I was just being totally honest with you.
Okay, then Daniel Carlson's the best.
No, yeah, that's who I was going to say is the best.
And Will Lutz is the second best.
No.
Then who is?
I mean, like, I don't like it, but it's Harrison Butker.
Man, that boy was inconsistent.
He's not really.
Yes, he was. That boy couldn't hit an extra point if his life depended on it.
He missed a couple of them, but like, he's got a way more, especially in clutch moments. He's got a way more reliable leg than Will Lutz. Now, Will Lutz hasn't been tested as much. What about the Ravens kicker? We don't know who the Ravens kicker is, Jeff. We're not at the AFC North yet. Like Justin Tucker got cut, so
yeah, he got cut.
He's gone. Justin Tucker's gone. I don't even know who their kicker is now.
He's dancing with the 50s.
Yeah, he's probably dancing with something else, but we're not going to talk about that on this show because I like. Yeah. Well, I'd say because I don't want to get demonetized, but we're not even monetized in the first place to get demonetized. So I guess we could talk about it. But I have ambitions of this channel one day being monetized. So maybe I probably should not talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. So Okay, so then that's the A. So that's the AFC West. Let's move on to the AFC East. Best quarterback in
Ooh,
that division is Josh
Josh
Allen,
Allen.
and I don't think we even really have to talk about that. Like, obviously, it's Josh Allen. Like,
No duh.
I mean, I think. Are we saying, is Tua or Drake May number two?
Tua.
Yeah, because Drake May could be, but
Yeah, but
I need to
Drake
see a
May
little
feels
bit
like
more
Tua.
from Drake, a little bit more consistently from Drake May to really put him there.
Drake May has number two potential, but if we're going like based off like the eye test, based off of their overall abilities, I feel like Tua does way more. You know, he gets concussions way more. Okay, that was me. But no,
He's the best
Tua,
quarterback in the NFL at getting concussions.
that is true. Mostly the reason it's funny is because he does it to himself. But yeah, I think he has to be the. I mean, he did lead the league in yards a couple years ago for a reason, and I feel like the Dolphins would have been in the playoffs this year if it wasn't for Tua's injury. So yeah, I think Tua is the second best quarterback, and Justin Fields, go get your box of tissues and watch a movie because you ain't nowhere near the list. And Drake May, you're closer than Justin Fields is, but you still got some stuff to work on.
Yep. All right. Um, so best receiver in that division is
What about the running back?
we'll get to the running backs. I mean, we don't have to do them in that
Okay.
specific order.
All right, yeah, all right. All right, well, the best
But I mean,
receiver.
like talent wise, it's Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
it has to be Tyreek.
I don't even know what's happening with Tyreek Hill, to be honest. So, like, you know, that's part of the problem with Tyreek Hill because like talent wise, by far and away, there's no question it's Tyreek Hill. But like, I mean, I guess part of the question is like, how much are you even going to get out of him? Like, is his distraction even worth it at this point? Because obviously, it's not like the Dolphins are out there winning playoff games.
Honestly, I could actually argue Jalen Waddle being a better receiver than Tyreek.
Well, he's definitely more reliable at this point. I think if it's not Tyreek Hill though, it's Garrett Wilson.
Eh.
Like what Garrett Wilson has managed to do with his like quarterback situation is
So now the quarterback matters. Okay, just
wait what?
just
No,
okay.
that's what I've been arguing this whole time. You were saying that the quarterback situation is going to drag him down, and I'm saying if you overcome a bad quarterback situation, then that's a boon on you.
That is not what I said. I said he could be better with a good quarterback situation. I never said that he was
No,
going to
you
be
said
bad.
you said we're not putting whoever we were talking about before. You said we're not putting him up because like we're not making him number one or number two or whatever because his quarterback situation is bad. And I'm like that. I don't care that much about that. Like if you got a bad quarterback, it's like that maybe that gets in the way of your opportunity, but that doesn't change your talent level.
All right,
Okay.
all right. Continue. What were we talking about, Garrett Wilson?
Well, I think Garrett Wilson. If Tyreek Hill isn't number one, I think Garrett Wilson might be number one.
I think number one. I think number one is Tyreek Hill, and honestly, I kind of think number two is actually Khalil Shakir.
I don't.
Well, that's your opinion.
I don't. I liked what you said about Jalen Waddle. I think the best two wide receivers in that division, if we're not counting Tyreek Hill, who, as Jeff mentioned, got arrested by the Minecraft Coast Guard. If Tyreek Hill's not up in there, then it's Garrett Wilson and it's Jalen Waddle. And if we are putting Tyreek Hill in there, then it's Tyreek Hill and Garrett Wilson. But it might be Garrett Wilson and Tyreek Hill. But it's probably not. It's definitely Tyreek Hill number one and Garrett Wilson too. But it's I don't think Khalil Shakir is better than either of the Dolphins wide receivers or Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
Okay. Tight ends.
The tight end, man. Woo! Honestly, I think the best tight end right now in the AFC East, probably it's either It's either Hunter Henry, Johnny Smith, or Dalton Kincaid. And I'm honestly probably giving it to probably Hunter Henry.
I mean, I don't. Are we just totally forgetting about Dawson Knox?
No, I forgot somebody. No. We got to give it to the best tight end of all time, Mason Taylor.
Okay, so we're just forgetting about Dawson Knox?
Yes.
Why?
Because I feel like it.
Okay, I think Dawson Knox is the best tight end in that division, and I think Dalton Kincaid might be number 2.
I think Dawson Knox was the best tight end in that division 5 years ago.
So you think so who are you saying is better than him now? Like I sort of get the argument about Hunter Henry, but you're saying Jonnu Smith?
Mason Taylor.
Okay, so who are you genuinely saying?
I'm saying Hunter Henry.
I don't. I don't. Maybe he could be. He's talented for sure, but I don't think he's. I mean, if we're talking pure talent, then Dalton Kincaid's probably the best tight end in that division, even though he's not even the starter.
I try not talking about that as much.
Why?
Because the Saints could have had him, but then the Bills had to trade up.
Well, maybe you should have traded up.
Well, maybe Mickey Loomis isn't smart. Have you ever thought about that?
Not as much as you have.
Bro, I really wish Donald Duck was our GM.
For context, people, before we started taping, Mikey relayed a question from his mom who asked me if Donald Duck was the Saints GM instead of Mickey Loomis, would that be better? And my answer was probably not, because like let's just be honest, Donald Duck is not good at managing anything. Like I'm not saying Mickey Loomis is I'm not saying anything good about Mickey Loomis. I'm saying Donald Duck is notoriously bad at managing situations.
Yeah,
like that's kind of his whole thing. Like he gets overwhelmed and he goes, "Wah!" I can't do the voice. My dad does a phenomenal Donald Duck impression. Like it's masterful, but I can't do it to save my life.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Just like the Saints can't do winning to save their life.
Yeah, my Donald Duck impression is similar to the Saints winning impression.
Okay.
Donald Duck could manage the Colorado Rockies. I don't get the reference because I don't know anything about baseball.
I will say this though. Saints make the playoffs next year. I'm talking so much ish.
Why? Yeah, I mean, like, I would go bring up the clips where you're saying they're going to be bad.
Don't get me wrong. I would roast myself too.
Okay, no, that's more fair. Okay. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've roasted myself in the past. Man, I'm not afraid to make myself look like a clown. Like I would roast myself, bro. I'll be the first person I roast, but everybody else gonna get some licks too. It's just gonna be a roasting pot.
Okay. All right. Let's. The Rockies are 9-43. That can't be good. Like I don't know much about baseball, and I know that's bad. So that's not good. All right. So, So where are we landing with tight ends then? Because like I almost kind of want to put Dalton Kincaid at number 1 now that I'm thinking about it. Just because like I know Dawson Knox is technically the number 1. I don't think he's going to be, and we've already seen Dalton Kincaid be really good. So it's like the eye test is already there.
All right.
I think Dalton Kincaid might be the best tight end in that division, and then number 2, and we could put Hunter Henry number 2. That's fine.
Hey.
All right. So defenses in that division.
So we're just gonna forget about the running back position all entirely.
Oh shit! You know what? Okay, this time I did forget about the running back position. Okay, so let's do running back then, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's because like I can't think of anybody in that division that excites me at running back.
Bro, I think the number one running back might be either James Cook or Brees Hall.
I mean,
That's
like,
kinda sad.
I don't agree with James Cook. I think Brees Hall could be number one, but like honestly, I think like Ramondre Stevenson is better than James Cook.
Honestly, I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think Devon Achane actually has a chance to be number one too.
I don't.
Okay, he'll be number one soon.
Okay.
Just soon.
I guess he could, but I don't see that. But I think if you swap Ramondre Stevenson and James Cook, then James Cook just gets totally forgotten about, and Ramondre Stevenson ends up becoming like maybe the most like like one of the best performing running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, Stevenson fumbles the ball too damn much.
Well, maybe he will fumble less in Buffalo, but he's really
How
talented.
does it change anything?
I mean, I don't know. It worked for Joe Mixon.
Okay, well that's because Joe Mixon is good, but nah.
Ramondre Stevenson's good.
I'm not saying he's not good, but like Ramondre Stevenson, that boy fumbled the ball more than a running back with no hands.
Okay.
Nah, bro, I ain't putting a guy that can barely hold on to a football at number one. He got work on to do with that first. That man's literally the James Winston of running back.
I didn't say he should be number one. I think I can agree with Brees Hall number one, but I do think Stevenson should be two.
I'll put Stevenson at 3.
But that's what I'm arguing against.
But that's what I'm not arguing against.
But this is this the hill that we want to fight about? Like, do we are we really about to have like a throwdown about Ramondre Stevenson? You know, just to avoid that. That's the last universe that I want to live in. So just to avoid that, I'm just going to yield to you on this one. We can put James Cook there. I don't fucking care.
Yay!
But I still reserve the right to argue that it should have been Ramondre Stevenson.
Bro, you're lucky I'm not putting Stevenson at 4.
I mean, it kind of sounds like if with your belief in Devin Achane, it kind of sounds like you want to anyway.
Yeah. Man, I don't even think Stevenson's the best running back on his own team.
What?
Bruh, like, I know what I said about rookies, but I think by the end of the season, Trayvon Henderson's going to be the number one running back in New England.
Well, okay, we haven't even seen him take a snap yet, so.
I know, that's my point. That's why I'm still going with Stevenson as the number one running back. But I'm saying at the end of the season, Stevenson's going to be that number 2 running back in New England.
Oh, shit, anyway, Travion Williams isn't in New England? They got Trayvon Henderson and Travion Williams.
Trayvon Henderson's in New England? Yeah.
Yeah, Travion Williams is in New England. I didn't realize he was in New England.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, now we move on to defenses.
So Travion Williams is actually the best running back in the AFC East.
No, if I can't do that with Will Lutz, you can't do that with Trayvon.
But I'm gonna do it because the if you go underneath if you go on YouTube and you go underneath this box that me and you are existing in right now, I actually have a question for you, Mikey. If like go look on YouTube right now, right? You go look on YouTube, okay. And then you go to this live stream, and then if you look underneath this video, you'll see the title of the video, right? And then if you look underneath that, what does it say?
It says Kyle Phelps.
Yeah.
523 subscribers.
Well, I mean, I wasn't necessarily advertising that second part, but the first part says Kyle Phelps, so it's my fucking show, so fuck you.
Okay. But my channel is literally on the screen.
Well, no, okay, it's our show, but this is still my channel though.
Okay, but it's our show. Like whenever you stream with Thomas, then okay, you can do whatever you want there. But man, look, we both run this show. It has both of our YouTube channels on it.
Also, like
And when
Thomas does have his own YouTube channel. I just didn't like this is just the way I designed the overlay.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, most people, Jeff says it says 1 watching, but it says 3 watching for me. So I don't no, but Mikey was talking about subscribers. There's 523 subscribers, which be nice if there was 523 watching, but I think the only time I've ever achieved that number of people watching at one time is during Tom Grossi raids. So, yeah, we'll get there one day.
Yeah.
All right, so then
I'm probably not getting any Grossi raids next year, knowing the Saints don't play in prime time. So.
Yeah, I think the Bengals. I think if I remember correctly, if I remember the Bengals schedule, I think the Bengals play the Packers this year, and for the longest time, I was really kind of waiting for a Bengals Packers because I was gonna try to get Tom Grossi to do a show with me. I'll be honest with you now. I'm not even entirely sure I want to, because
why? What Tom do?
No, nothing wrong with Tom. He's just so fucking busy. Like I don't want to deal with that logistical nightmare. But nothing wrong with Tom. Tom's he's done a great job, and I just don't want to deal with that headache. I mean, it'd be good for my channel, but it just seems like kind of a headache to try to do one single stream with him. Not to mention when you get guys who have achieved that level, there's always I mean, I don't know if it would be this way with him because he's so all about being independent and not being weird about it and stuff. But when you work with people who are at that level, there's all sorts of contracts and red tape you have to sign and stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't know if it would be like that with him, but it just I don't know. It feels like he's over the hump of where I would even really want to, if I'm getting him on my show, it's really just about riding his coattails at that point, rather than it being there being something cool on my show, the vast majority of people who would watch it would come watch it for Tom Grossi and then never watch my show again.
Yeah, I still remember Tom Grossi one time when he flipped over the wildfire poster that's still right there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember that too. I think I saw that. All right, so I guess defenses then for the East.
AFC East.
Yeah.
The best defense in the AFC East, Buffalo.
It's not really a very high bar.
Yeah, bro. Greg Rousseau and Teron Johnson alone claims that title.
Yeah, they were so bad last year. In general,
I don't care how bad they were last year.
I have I mean they were clearly by far and away the worst in that division. They were one of the worst. Their defense was worse than our defense overall, and not throughout the whole season. That's partially because our defense did get better at the end of the season, but
that's nice.
Yeah, I think I think the Dolphins have a lot of potential on defense, to be honest. With
what about lose Ramsey? So
that's tough. That's not going to help. I was more so thinking the other Jalen, the what's his name, the defensive end.
Who?
They got a defensive end there. God, what's his name? It's Jalen something, right?
Who?
Oh, Jalen Phillips. He's not a defensive end. He's a edge rusher, but I think he stands up generally. But Jalen Phillips, honestly, they're Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb by themselves, I think are. If they lose Jalen Ramsey, yeah, that's a big problem. But look, they got a guy. You were just talking about Donald Duck. They got Storm Duck. Okay,
The Saints one time had a player named Storm Norton.
But they don't have Storm Duck.
Okay, ducks are stupid.
Okay. My sister wouldn't like you very much for saying that.
I don't care what your sister thinks.
I don't really care what my sister thinks either. I just wanted to point that out.
Bruh, man, you see, there was this one time, right? The Saints were playing the Lions, right? You were watching. We were streaming on the Who Dat Center, and then I got squirted on by a water bottle. Bro, I don't care what people think of me. I get squirted for whatever I do. I don't care what people think of me, bro. Like, I know sometimes it could be embarrassing. I know sometimes it could be funny. You know, it depends on what Mikey you decide to get.
So who's the best kicker in that division?
Tyler Bass.
I mean, obviously.
Either him or Jason Sanders, and do you really want to go that route?
Maybe Andrews Carlson?
Who?
He's the Jets kicker. I think he's like Daniel Carlson's brother or something like that.
Someone that works in the law firm.
Okay. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, obviously the best punter is Ryan Stonehouse. Clearly,
good for him. Okay, AFC's.
Yeah. We're not getting into punters. So, but yeah, I think we've kind of jumped the shark with the AFC East. So that's where it stands with the AFC East. Now let's do the one that I think everybody really wants to do, and that's the AFC North.
Okay.
So, best quarterback in that division is Joe Burrow. And I will not hear any other arguments. And
wait, so you don't think that they're saying this is the best quarterback in that division? What about Mason Rudolph? I heard good things about him. What about Jake Browning? You saw when he was slinging that thing? What about Cooper Rush? You don't think he could be the best quarterback?
Cooper Rush?
Yeah, Cooper Rush, man. He's in Baltimore now.
Oh, is he? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, no. The reason I very emphatically said that because there's a lot of people who would argue. Jeff says Joe Flacco. There's a lot of people who would genuinely argue that Lamar Jackson's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. But those people are wrong. So we're just gonna leave it at that. Now, obviously, Lamar Jackson's record against Joe Burrow is a thing that is heavily skewed in Lamar Jackson's favor. But that's not really Joe Burrow's fault. That's the defense's fault. And also, like, I've mentioned this before. I think I've made a video on this before. I might have to make a video on it again. But like that record with Lamar Jackson is a little skewed. Just because, like, I mean, Lamar Jackson hasn't always really... Lamar Jackson's missed a lot of the games that the Bengals have won. So, I mean, maybe if Lamar Jackson is there, it would have turned out a little bit different. But I don't think so. I think Joe Burrow. I think Lou Anarumo kind of more or less kind of figured Lamar Jackson out, and never really brought it home. Obviously, Lou Anarumo isn't there, but it doesn't really matter when it comes to Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is just he's the more clutch quarterback. He's got the better arm. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's better at running. We're not going to argue with that. But Joe Burrow is like sneakily one of the better running quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, I mean, he doesn't do it as much.
50-yard rushing touchdown last year.
Exactly. Like he can do it. Like, I mean, he doesn't. It's not his go-to move. But when he does it, it's like it's not anything to sneeze at. So, there are people out there, mostly Ravens fans, but there are people out there, and also Joe Burrow haters. But there are people out there who would try to argue that Lamar Jackson's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow, and those people are incorrect. Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the division, and I will hear no other arguments. And then obviously Lamar Jackson's number two because, like, there was a time when it could have been Deshaun Watson, but that time is not this current time, and he's not even playing this year anyway. And then it's definitely not whoever the fuck the Steelers are trotting out.
What about Kenny Pickett? You don't think he's the best quarterback in that division?
Kenny Pickett might not even be in the division when the season starts.
I mean, right now he's currently the Browns starter. Anything's possible.
No, I think Joe Flacco is probably going to be the Browns starter.
That's not what the depth chart says.
The depth chart's
Okay,
wrong.
anyway,
Honestly, I think
you're wrong.
Kenny Pickett's probably going to get traded.
Good for him.
I don't think he's going to
Okay,
stick around
moving
with the
on.
Browns too long.
Yeah, it's Joe Burrow, then it's Lamar. I feel like you can argue Lamar, but I think, personally,
You can
Burrow's
argue
having
Lamar
a
and
playoff.
be wrong.
Okay, I think. Shut the heck up before I beat your ass. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Anyways, next. Bro, I'm about to go to jail. Burrow, I feel like I hate my life. Burrow's the best quarterback. Lamar's the best when it comes to like personal accolades, but I think Burrow's the best when it comes to like team success.
Yeah, I think if the Ravens have if the Ravens have a different quarterback, then I think they achieve maybe less success. I don't think maybe they're less successful without Lamar, but I still think that they're arguably a playoff team without Lamar Jackson. Without Joe Burrow, the Bengals are fucked. I'm as speaking as somebody who has watched every single Joe Burrow game in Cincinnati, just really intimately, just really analyzing every single Joe Burrow game, and every Bengals game of my whole life. It's not just Joe Burrow games, but still, as somebody who's like really deeply watched every single Joe Burrow game with the Bengals, I can promise you. I mean, maybe there was a time, like maybe that 21 run we could have done okay with a few other quarterbacks in the NFL, but I can promise you, without Joe Burrow, we're fucked. Without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens would probably still find a way to be all right, you know. And it's not to say that Lamar Jackson's not good. That's just to say that Joe Burrow is a different level, you know.
I mean, the Bengals were all right when Jake Browning was starting.
Exactly, like Jake Browning kind of made it work, you know. Um,
So
but
Bengals aren't completely
not at the same. Jake Browning kind of made it work, but he also didn't, though. Is my point.
All right, well, you can say the same thing about Tyler Huntley. Yeah, they were in the playoffs, but you can argue the only reason they were in the playoffs is because of what Lamar did in the first half of the season anyway.
You could make that argument, but they were the Ravens were more successful with Tyler Huntley than we were with Jake Browning. Like we had more success than people expected out of Jake Browning being the starter, which is why he has the accolades that he does. But Jake Browning was not getting the job done. You know, as useful as Jake Browning was, I would argue that Tyler Huntley was probably a little better than Jake Browning. And obviously without Lamar Jackson and without Joe Burrow, both of these teams are going to have issues. Like it's not going to be good without either of those guys. But what I'm saying is, if like let's say Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson both retire tomorrow, I think the Ravens would be able to come back from that a lot quicker than the Bengals.
Cool.
And I mean that sounds like a terrible scenario that I never want to deal with, but like it's the truth. Like
you'll deal with it. You'll deal with it in the year 2042.
Is that the year Joe Burrow's going to retire?
Probably.
I mean, I could see that. He could, like, as long as he doesn't keep getting injured.
That is, man. I've never seen someone win 2 comeback player of the year awards in my life.
Especially not within like 2 comeback player of the year awards in like a 2-year span.
Like, bro, that man got drafted in 2020, and so 2 out of his first 5 seasons in the NFL, he's won comeback player of the year. Yeah. That doesn't happen if you keep getting hurt. This ain't like a Sam Darnold thing where he was only considered because he sucked. Mm. This is a Joe Burrow thing where this man, the first year, he tripped over a freaking Claymore. The second time, well, his arm just was looking kind of funky. You know what I'm saying?
The fuck? That's a permanent marker you got there.
Huh? Yeah, what about it?
It's not. Okay. Anyway, we're getting off track here. Let's talk about running backs.
Derrick Henry, move on.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Derrick Henry's like. I mean, I
Don't
don't
you
know.
even consider it?
Huh? I wasn't gonna say.
Don't you even consider anybody else?
Oh well, it wasn't so much about considering anybody else. It was more like I don't know how. Like, is Derrick Henry still Derrick Henry? Because like
Yes.
he no, he's not. Like, he's not the same guy he was with the Titans.
Yes, he is.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't that level of dominant with the Ravens. Like, he was good. He made a big difference, and you're probably right that he's the best guy. But I don't think he's that guy who's like, by far and away clearly the best anymore.
Bro, Derrick Henry had his second best season rushing wise last year.
Yeah, but I think that's because the Ravens have a better offensive line than the Titans did.
Boy, that don't matter.
And a better overall offense.
Bro, other than 2020, when he went berserk with 2,000 rushing yards, this man had the best season. 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns. And in my opinion, I still think he's the second best running back in the entire NFL. There is no debating that.
I don't.
He is, though. There is no
but
debating
I don't think he's the second best running back.
Well,
in the
you can
NFL.
be
I really
wrong
don't.
if you want. Since it's your channel, I'll give you the privilege of being wrong. Derrick Henry is at least top three in rushing. So, like, he had 1,900 yards, and I don't care who your offensive line is. If you can get 1,900 yards, then clearly something is going right.
Yes, he's really good. I'm not trying to argue that. I'm just saying, like, the way he got there wasn't the same way that he got there in Tennessee. Because in Tennessee, it was all him. It was 100% him. In Baltimore, he had a lot more going, like helping him get there in Baltimore.
Okay, Tennessee, he also had A.J. Brown.
Okay, he wasn't throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. He wasn't throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. He also did not have that great, at times he did, but he didn't, for the most part, didn't have that great of an offensive line. He had Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. Like, come on.
Okay. What does that matter?
What it matters is that he's been in a much more a situation that, like, I think J.K. Dobbins could have had similar production in that offense this year.
Then why would he not?
What? Because he was in he was in Los Angeles.
But no, when he was in Baltimore, why did he not have the success?
Because he tore his ACL. What are you talking about?
Well, if he was as good as Derrick Henry, he would have made it work. Torn ACL or not?
No, he
wouldn't. Put some ice on it.
All right. Okay. All right. So okay, but I can agree though he's probably the best running back in the division. So who's number 2?
Chase Brown.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because I mean, who else would it be? Like, because the Steelers don't.
Chubb's gone.
Nick Chubb's gone, and he's gone. Like, I don't even think.
It wasn't Chubb, but he left Cleveland, and he's currently not even on the roster, so he can't even be in one of these videos.
But I think Nick Chubb was washed anyway.
He was not washed. It's just because Minka Fitzpatrick took him away from us.
Well, I'm not saying he's washed because he's a failure of a person. I mean, he's washed because he just can't do it anymore.
You will not criticize the best running back of all time, Nick Chubb.
Okay, so I'm confused. Why are you so fervently? Why Nick Chubb?
Because he looks like a cute teddy bear.
Okay. I'm struggling to think of why you are so hard, like on the Nick Chubb train. Like what about Nick? I mean, he played at Georgia. He's been with the Browns his whole career. Like, where's the bias with you? I'm so confused.
Because he did not have to get hurt like that. Minka Fitzpatrick took him away from us too soon, and also everybody else does this, so I might as well.
So
I miss Nick Chubb.
So you see what I mean about the Steelers being evil?
Yes. Why Minka Fitzpatrick gotta take him away from us too soon? He was only a little boy.
So is Jalen Warren not the best running back in the AFC North?
Hell no.
No, he's not. He's not. It's probably Chase Brown. It's probably Chase Brown. But by the end of the season, he'll be the number one though.
No, he won't.
Yeah, he will.
No,
Yeah.
bro. In order for that to happen, Derrick Henry would have to fall off a cliff or get hit by a plane.
I think he might not physically fall off a cliff, but I think his production might fall off a cliff this year.
But what if it doesn't?
Well, then I'm wrong. But I don't think that. I'm just saying I think that's going to happen.
That's nice.
And I think Chase Brown will be better this year. Now I'm not saying Chase Brown will be the best running back in the NFL, but I do think he'll eclipse Derrick Henry this year.
Well, until Chase Brown gets 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, and averages almost 6 yards a carry.
Well, okay, I don't think he's going to get 1,900 yards. I don't know. He might. Well, no, because he won't, because of what we're about to talk about next, which is wide receivers. And the answer is Jamar Chase. I'm gonna end all like the answer is Jamar Chase. He's the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. So obviously he's the best wide receiver in the AFC North. Okay, discussion over. Who's number two?
Yeah, it's Jamar Chase, and then number 2, Ravens. Bang. Number 2 is DK Metcalf.
Well, he's the most talented, but
Number 2 is DK Metcalf. Do not even freaking argue with me. It's DK Metcalf because Jerry Jeudy is the most weirdest, inconsistent receiver I've seen in my life, and T. Higgins is. I'm not gonna put.
I wasn't gonna say T. Higgins. I was not gonna say T. Higgins. I was actually. No, I was actually gonna give the props to the Ravens guys.
Zay Flowers? Oh boy.
No, not even. I wasn't even gonna say Zay Flowers. I think I was gonna say Rashad Bateman.
Oh hell, bro! What type of drugs are you on tonight?
Rashad Bateman's really good, dude. Like he's super underrated.
Not better than DK Metcalf.
I think he might be. If DK Metcalf was still in Seattle, then fair enough. But he's like when you go to a new team, you take a bit of a step back. It's almost always happens. And I like this year, and possibly in general. Like I think DK Metcalf's, especially losing George Pickens to take some heat. I think DK Metcalf might have a bit of a rougher adjustment period than people are expecting, and I think he's going to flame out in Pittsburgh. Not that he's going to be bad necessarily. I think he's going to end up not living up to expectations in Pittsburgh, and they're going to move on from him.
Do you remember Stephon Diggs' first year in Buffalo?
I remember he was really good.
Season. You remember Tyreek Hill's first season in Miami? Hint, he had a great season. You remember who else?
I said that's how it usually goes.
Oh, well, that's not how it could go. Okay,
it's not how it could go.
What I saw last year and the traits that DK Metcalf shares. DK Metcalf will literally take anybody's wife, and you can't do a damn thing about it because he's DK Metcalf, and you know he's gonna kill you if you try.
DK Metcalf is not on the same level that Stephon Diggs was when he went to Buffalo, nor is he on the same level that Tyreek Hill was when he went to Miami.
You're right. He's better.
No, he's not.
Metcalf is like a top 15 receiver in the NFL right
now. Stephon Diggs at the time might have been the best wide receiver in the NFL. The fact that he was moving was monumental at the time.
Good for him. But no, what I'm saying, if I was a good team like the Bills or the Chiefs, I would have offered a first round pick for DK Metcalf straight up.
That is rough, Jeff. Said he had Nick Chubb on his fantasy team in 2020 and drafted him in the first round. So you must have had a bad season. Is what I'm getting out of that.
Man, they took away themselves. I miss them so bad.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I like Nick Chubb. Like I'm a Bengals fan and I like Nick Chubb. What I don't get is why you like him so much because he has nothing to do with you.
Because I will always remember Nicholas Jamal Chubb the 8th. I will always remember.
Okay. All right,
man,
so
he was to be the best running back of all time, man. He was about to have 5,000 yards and 88 touchdowns in one season.
Okay.
But then Fitzpatrick.
So we're I think we're settling then on Jamar Chase number 1, Rashad Bateman number 2. Let's move on.
They can make him number 2. Okay, let's move on to the tight ends then.
All right, tight ends. Am I allowed to make an argument for a Bengals tight end?
No.
Mike Gesicki's pretty good. Mike Gesicki's pretty good. Come on.
He's not better than Pat Freiermuth. He's not even better than David Njoku. And to be honest, he's not even better than Isaiah Likely or Rashad or Mark Andrews.
No, I think he's better than Mark Andrews now. Mark Andrews was trash last year.
The number 1 tight end is Isaiah Likely, though, and the number 2 tight end is David Njoku. Can we move on?
You want to talk about guys who are washed, though? I think Mark Andrews is washed. And let's rewind a second. Mike Gesicki's better than Isaiah Likely. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. You're incorrect. No. But I might throw up as I say it, but you're probably right about Pat Freiermuth, and you're probably. I think Njoku and Gesicki are about like on, but you could go either way with them.
No, I think Mike Gesicki's at least the third, well, no, at most the third best tight end. His ceiling's low, and his floor is also pretty.
I don't think his ceiling's low. He's an incredibly talented player. Like I mean, he's basically a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Now, so that actually does bring up a good point because part of being a tight end is being well-rounded and also being able to block and stuff. And Mike Gesicki isn't great at that, so we could maybe, I could maybe come to seeing your side on that. But then, Drew Sample, maybe he's number 1 in the AFC North. He's really good at blocking. He's really good at blocking. He's like the best blocking tight end.
Okay, Tre'Quan Smith was good at blocking too, buddy. That does not make you a great player.
But Drew Sample might be the best blocking tight end I've seen, at least on the Bengals.
But Drew Sample can kiss all the nuts.
Well, that's not very nice.
I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and let you bias me into thinking about Drew Sample. Whenever I don't talk to you, I don't think about Drew Sample one time unless he just pops up on anything. I don't think about him. I don't want to think about him. I don't even want to think he's in the NFL. Okay, no Drew Sample.
Okay, but okay, so Pat Freiermuth can be number 1, but I think Gesicki's number 2.
No.
It's not Isaiah Likely. Like, Mike Gesicki's better than Isaiah Likely. Fine. Yeah, I think you're right about Njoku. Fine.
Okay, we're talking about defenses now?
Yeah, I guess we're talking about defense. So the best defense in the AFC North is the Bengals defense, clearly.
I will stab you with this pen.
Did you not just see us draft the legend Shamar Stewart? We don't even need Trey Hendrickson now.
I think Shamar Stewart could be good in the UFL in 5 years. I think he could be.
I hate everything. This is
depressing. The best defense is Pittsburgh.
No, it's Cleveland.
No, it's Pittsburgh.
No, it's Cleveland. Pittsburgh's got the best defensive end. I think he's better than Myles Garrett. But Cleveland's got a dense defense, dude. Like Pittsburgh's pretty good, but they've got a lot of holes too. Cleveland is a phenomenal defense. If it weren't for their absolutely just disgusting situation at quarterback, Cleveland would be a playoff team purely because of their defense.
They got Alex Highsmith, Cole Holcomb, T.J. Watt, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay. I like Pittsburgh's defense.
I think Pittsburgh's got a solid defense, but I think the Browns. If it weren't for the Eagles, I think the Browns have the second best defense in the whole NFL.
Hold on, you want to talk about if they had a good offense? Well, guess what? The Steelers didn't have a good offense last year, and yet they still made the playoffs because of their defense.
Yeah, but their offense wasn't as bad as the Browns' offense. It was bad.
Okay.
It was bad, but the Browns' offense was disgusting last year. Like the Steelers' offense was like it wasn't good, but it was honestly mid. Like the Steelers' offense like gets a lot of smack for how good their defense was, and they definitely screwed up a lot of games. But like overall, if you look at the overall numbers, the Steelers' offense wasn't like all time bad. The Browns' offense was like I've seen some bad Browns offenses before in my life, and I think that might have been the worst Browns offense I've ever seen. That was horrendous what the Browns put out last year. That was against the Geneva Convention. Like they should be charged with war crimes for how bad their offense was last year.
But then that means that they're forced to get a good offense. I don't think you would want that.
Wait, what?
If the Browns offense is a war crime, then that means that they're gonna have to fix their offense because the policeman's gonna say so.
Well, that doesn't mean they're actually gonna do it.
But then they're gonna go to jail again.
That's where they belong, honestly. They're that bad. And Thomas would agree with me. That's how bad the Browns are that Thomas would agree with me just trashing them constantly. He'd join in. He'd be like, yeah, they're fucking awful.
That's nice. But yeah, I think I can agree with you on that. Okay, I'll give you Cleveland. I'll give you Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland's their defense. Just the fact that they won any games last year was because of that defense. So.
Wait, you think it was because of the defense and not DTR magic?
Bro. Listen. I know Nathan Peterman had some spectacularly bad games, but I've never seen a quarterback worse in my life at the NFL level than DTR. I think there were a couple of games that I could have gone out there and thrown a better pass than DTR. But that's like I would die if I went on an NFL field. But I think I might get a pass off that looked better than some of DTR's passes.
Bro, I already know I'm a better QB than DTR. That's not a conversation, man. Have you ever seen the 2021 Mikey football highlights?
No, I have not. I've never played quarterback before. I played cornerback and linebacker.
I played defensive end. I was a pretty damn good defensive end, but yeah, I played defensive end before.
I played wide receiver in practice. Oh no, I did get on the field as a wide receiver one time, and then I immediately got checked at the line and fell over, and they never put me back in at wide receiver ever again.
Yeah, ironically I got put in at tight end on one play, and I scored a touchdown on that play. And,
I agree, Jeff. DTR was incredibly fun to watch because we are Bengals fans.
Bro, Kyle, you remember that one preseason game DTR had, and every single Browns fan was like, "Okay, yeah, he's the next Dan Marino. He's the next Drew Brees."
Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, because they were talking about his really good preseason game. I'm not gonna lie. In the draft, I thought that was a good pick for him. I thought DTR could have been like a second round pick in the draft, and then he went in the NFL. I'm like, oh, I'm just stupid. Okay. The second I watched DTR play football was the second I realized that a career as a football analyst is not in my future. I was that wrong about DTR. He's that bad.
Did you have Peyton Turner in the first round?
I did have Peyton Turner. No, I didn't. No, I had him. I had Peyton Turner in the third round.
Okay, well then you're smart. You're smart. Maybe
no, I'm smarter than I'm smart enough to know Peyton Turner shouldn't go in the first round.
Why didn't you tell Mickey Loomis that?
If I could have, I would have.
Bro, I didn't even know Peyton Turner was even in the draft. That's how bad he was.
Actually, to be totally honest with you, like, if I was giving advice to NFL teams, DTR is on the Eagles now. I don't know how he still has a job. But if I was giving advice to NFL teams, unless I'm giving advice to the Bengals, I'm probably giving intentionally bad advice. So, like, I'm sorry, Mikey. I probably would have advised them to draft Peyton Turner. That way, the Bengals didn't have to worry about drafting Peyton Turner.
Why are you gonna be nice to us?
I just want whatever's gonna work in the Bengals' favor.
We
That's
don't
the
even
only
play
thing I
all
care about.
the Super Bowl.
I have other teams that I root for when it doesn't impact the Bengals, and I have I have different things. But at the end of the day, if anything can happen that is in favor of the Bengals, I don't give a shit if it's just like the little tiniest minutia of advantage to the Bengals, and it's just a catastrophic event for another team. I don't care. I don't care. You know.
Do you root for the Saints occasionally?
Yeah, if it helps the Bengals. And or if it's completely neutral to the Bengals, I will root for the Saints because because of you. Um, I'm not gonna lie. If like I said, if there's like if the Bengals only have like a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs, and the Steelers the Steelers beating the Saints gives the Bengals a 0.01 extra percent chance to make the playoffs, but it's still like 0.2% chance that they would. I'm probably going to root for the Steelers to beat the Saints. Sorry.
But I thought you said unless the Bengals absolutely need the Steelers to win, then you won't root for the Steelers.
Well, yeah, in this scenario, the Bengals are eliminated from the playoffs if the Steelers lose. Basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah. But if they win, then there's a 0.2% chance that they make the playoffs, and I'm rooting for that.
I rooted for the Steelers to go 11-6.
I know you did, because you're a bad person.
What did I do? Hey,
you rooted for the Steelers. What?
We gave y'all Joe Burrow.
No,
so if anything, you should be thanking me.
You did not. You sort of did. The LSU gave us Joe Burrow, but the Saints did not have anything to do with giving us Joe Burrow.
I'm not talking about the Saints here, man. You see,
if we're talking about like college, then it's a completely different situation. Like I have nothing against LSU. I don't feel strongly. The only thing I feel strongly like it's not like I'm going to root for things to happen so something amazing can happen to Kentucky because Kentucky's never going to do anything. Like Ohio University is never going to do anything. Maybe UC might do something someday, but that's the closest it will ever come. The only thing I really get passionate about in college football is fuck Ohio State. Other than that, that's about it.
And that worked well this year. Okay, can we talk about the kickers now?
They still lost to Michigan, which was funny.
Okay,
and it's really funny. And yes, we can talk about kickers here in a second. But it's really funny because Ohio State fans, when the big game was happening with Michigan, all the Ohio State fans were like, well, I'm tired of losing to Michigan. We got to win this. Even if we go on and win the national championship, it's not going to matter if we can't beat Michigan. And then they lost to Michigan, and then they won the national championship, and they all just forgot that they said that.
I saw this one video where some guy was in a store just regularly shopping with a Michigan hat on, and then the Ohio State fan was running like the counter or whatever, and he was like, "Take that hat off," and the guy was like, "But y'all won the national championship. What does it matter that we beat y'all?" And the guy was like, "Rivalries mean more than national championships," and I just looked at that and I'm like, "Well, okay."
Right. That seems to be how people feel in college football, which, to be honest, like almost kind of makes sense to me because like for the longest time college football really was about the regular season, and then there was bowl games. Like this whole college football playoff thing is so new that it's for the like the college football fandoms have been forged in the regular season really being about the only thing that matters, and then there's like bowl games at the end of the year. So I can see why caring more about rivalries than the national championship has developed over the years. All I'm saying is Ohio State fans said that before the game against Michigan. Then they lost to Michigan, and they ate shit for like 3 months straight. And then they won the national championship, and they acted like, oh, that's what we cared about from the beginning. Like, no, you fucking didn't. Shut up. Y'all were saying, like, I don't care. Like, Ryan Day needs to be fired. I don't care if he goes on and wins the national championship. Then he goes on and wins the national championship, gets extended, and all the Ohio State fans are like, yeah, Ryan Day, he's the man. But dude, like 3 months ago, y'all were calling for his head. Like, fuck off.
Yes.
I hate Ohio State.
I do
Get on my goddamn nerves.
Man, bro, I hate Ohio State because they keep on trying to trash the SEC. Like, what we do to people?
Well, I mean, in fairness, the SEC has like kind of taken all of the attention and not only like it's like dominating and then you're like, well, then stop us or whatever, but at the same time when it comes to college football, because of the way recruiting works and everything like that, once you start to kind of get in a rut like that, it's really kind of hard to move away from that. Like, part of the reason Ohio State came to dominate the Big Ten as much as they did is just because it was really hard for any other schools to recruit, because anyway, if you're going to the Big Ten, you're going to Ohio State, and if you can, you're going to go to the SEC. So, until relatively recently, Ohio State wasn't even really able to compete with the SEC teams just naturally because of the way recruiting worked, and that's not really about competition at that point. That's just about recruiting, and I think that's what I'm not agreeing with them. I'm saying that's what their issue was.
Yeah, but like I said, SEC is like a brotherhood, sort of. Like, look, I hate most of the teams from the SEC. But I'm not saying I would root for the SEC teams, but I would say this: if Alabama was to play Ohio State right now, I think, bro, I'm not gonna lie. If South Carolina was to play Ohio State, I think South Carolina might win that game.
My team's in the SEC.
Yeah, if Kentucky was to play Ohio State, I think Kentucky wins.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think you're right about
Bro,
that.
I would take any SEC team over Ohio State any day.
I wouldn't take Kentucky over Ohio State. I love my Wildcats. I'm realistic. They're not going to beat Ohio State.
Man.
Oh yeah, Vandy too. What about Vandy? I think
Vandy would destroy Ohio State.
Now maybe. Historically, Vandy was worse than Kentucky.
Well, yeah, but like now, Vandy beat Bama for crying out loud. They put up some real fights. They were even ranked last year.
Yeah.
At one point.
UC did make the college football playoffs. I'll give UC credit. They've because UC, it used to be like, because like I've always been a Kentucky fan, but I've lived in Cincinnati basically my whole life, so I've like UC's kind of been like the other team that's not my team, but like I still I really fuck with UC. But they were just as bad as UK when it came to college football. Maybe a little bit more interesting than UK when it came to college football, but we were so much better at college basketball that it's all good. It's all good. But the way that UC has been really kind of turning things around football lately, making the college football playoffs, I think twice in the last however many years, and that's pretty good. Like I would love to see now. I'm a UC alumni now, so I can really take some pride in it. As of like last week, I think I graduated.
I graduated last week too. Yeah.
And not from UC though.
Man, I got this.
Okay. All right. Kickers then, and then we can go ahead and wrap up because we are. Oh God, we're an hour and a half in. So yeah, kickers. Who's the best kicker in the AFC North, and why is it Evan McPherson?
Chris Boswell.
All right, so that's all the time we have for today, guys. I hope you had a good time, and unfortunately, we're going to be replacing Mikey with somebody else next week, and probably going forward.
What did I do?
Fuck Chris Boswell. Fuck Chris Boswell.
Bro, Chris Boswell literally won the Steelers 2 games.
Yeah, I know. It should be Evan McPherson, but just something got stuck in his craw like the last 2 seasons. I don't know what's. I think it might have something to do with losing like the shit with like the long snapper, and then like the whole like I think the whole thing's been thrown off because like Kevin Huber and Clark Harris were such staples, and that's part of what got Evan McPherson like going early. And now with all the turnover, it's weird. But at the same time, like that's also like your job is to overcome that shit. So I don't know. But yeah, it's probably Chris Boswell. But is Evan McPherson number 2? Because like I don't even who's the Browns kicker. Because it was Cade York, and he ended up on our team.
Oh, that's nice. I don't even know, but whoever it is, if I can't remember, then they're probably not that good anyway. So
I think it's not the Ravens. Like we don't even know what their new kicker's like. Like Justin Tucker's gone. So I think he's gone. He's out. He's never coming back. So I think it's Chris Boswell 1. It's Evan McPherson 2. And regardless of like people are up and down on Evan McPherson lately, but like let's not forget that kid was like electric to start. So I mean he's talented, and he needs to get that consistency back. But Evan McPherson's still a pretty good kicker. I'd rather have him than a lot of kickers in the NFL. I'd way rather have him than Randy Bullock again. Good God. I don't know if I've ever hated a kicker in my life more than I hated Randy Bullock. I did really hate Neil Rackers back in the day because before he went on to be a legend in Arizona, he was a really bad kicker for us. But I was also like 8 years old, so I don't know if I really had the capacity to understand my hatred for anybody. But I hated fucking Randy Bullock. I despised Randy Bullock. Like I'm so glad he's gone.
I have a question, Kyle. If Achilles Smith changed his position to kicker, would he be your new hated kicker?
No, I think I hate Randy Bullock more. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Like, I think like I'm not saying I like Achilles Smith, but I don't have that much. I don't have a personal problem with Achilles Smith. Probably partly because like he was like I think I was like 9 years old when he got drafted, so like I only kind of vaguely remember that whole situation. Like, you know, I really didn't start fully paying attention to the Bengals until probably about 2002, which was a really bad year to start paying attention to the Bengals because they went 2-14 that year. But then the next year we got Carson Palmer and Marvin Lewis, so it worked out okay. But like I think I mostly didn't really pay a whole lot of attention during the Achilles Smith years. But to be completely honest, the worst part about Achilles Smith is like Achilles Smith, sucked, didn't read the playbook, had a victim mentality about a lot of stuff, and still kind of does. I don't know if I still am, but I was friends with him on Facebook for the longest time, and I can see how he didn't make it in the NFL because his mentality is all about like pointing at other people. But I'm not even that mad at Achilles Smith. I'm more mad at the Bengals for drafting Achilles Smith. And not just because Achilles Smith was a bust, but because we could have had the Saints' entire draft cycle, plus some more draft picks the next year for Achilles Smith, and we turned it down for Achilles Smith because they wanted Ricky Williams. And they ended up getting Ricky Williams. Like, we could have had their whole freaking... That gets on my nerves so fucking much. Yeah, fuck Achilles Smith. I'm not saying he wasn't bad or whatever, but I am saying fuck Mike Brown for turning that deal down. Now, at the same time, what would they have done with it? They might have done something with it, because the next year, they were drafting pretty well around that time. Maybe not in 2000, but by like 2001, 2002, they were making some pretty good. But part of the reason why things turned around under Carson Palmer and Marvin Lewis is because they had guys like Justin Smith and Chad Johnson and T.J. Hushmanzada, who they were drafting around that time and making shit work with. So people say like, oh, well, the Bengals would have just wasted those picks like they wasted it on Achilles Smith, but they might not have. Like some other guys we drafted around that time turned out to be foundational for us.
Well, if it makes you feel better, the trade didn't work out for us or Washington.
I know Washington didn't really do a whole lot with those picks. Ricky Williams ended up being a pretty decent running back in the NFL, just not for the Saints.
Bruh, ironically, the Saints did that same thing a few years ago.
What?
The Saints... It wasn't as drastic as the Ricky Williams trade, but I remember, I want to say it was the 2020 draft, It was either 2020 or 2019, where the Saints, and it was some point in the third round, they traded every single day 3 pick. Then they ended up trading back in the 7th round, but they traded every single day 3 pick for a third round pick.
What did they use the third round pick on?
I don't freaking remember. In fact, let me just find that out right now.
Because, I mean, if it was for somebody who ended up being good, then that's fine.
I think I know. It was either. I think it might have been Adam Troutman. Let me
but
see if I can.
And Adam Troutman ended up being all right, right?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
don't even ever say that again in your life.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Adam Thielen.
He was good for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to find. Okay, it was the 2020 draft. Let me see. They traded up for Zach Bond.
Zach Bond was good.
Wait, no. I take that. Yeah, it was Zach Bond. Wait, hold on. The Saints traded up to select Bond and Trout. Okay, the Saints traded up to select Bond, and Troutman was also selected via a trade with the Saints. All right, so the Saints. I think. Hold on. Let me pull this up because I know we had 2 third-round picks that year, but who's the one that we traded up for? Hold on. But yeah, Zach Bond is good. He just, we just didn't want to freaking use him. All right, so yeah, we traded up for Adam Troutman, and he was terrible.
Okay.
We traded every single day 3 pick for Adam Troutman, and then we ended up trading back in the 7th round to select a quarterback that didn't even make the roster.
But you did get Zach Bond out of it though, like with the other pick, but still.
Well, no, but we didn't trade up for Zach Bond. We traded up for Adam Troutman.
No, I mean I get that. That's obviously not great, but it's not like you completely wasted everything in that draft. Like Zach Bond turned out to be a pretty good pick.
Not for us.
Maybe I'm wrong. I recall him being all right for you guys.
Bro, the Saints didn't know how to use this man.
Yeah, I know. He obviously ended up being better outside of New Orleans. But as I recall, when he was a free agent, people were talking about, oh, hey, Zach Bond, that'd be a good guy to pick up.
Who? All I heard was that I heard Eagle fans, whenever they signed Zach Bond, thinking that he might not even make the damn roster.
Well, that might have just been people talking shit, though.
But still, no, even the Eagle fans and everybody, until Zach Bond started popping off, this was the first year anybody even remembered who Zach Bond was. I don't even think people knew Zach Bond was even in the NFL, to be honest. I got to the point where I wanted to trade.
I wanted the Bengals to pick up Zach Bond.
Well, you're a different breed. But the Saints, right, they traded their 4th round picks, their 5th round picks, their 6th round picks, and their 7th round picks to the Minnesota Vikings to get Adam freaking Troutman. So the Saints literally did a Ricky Williams trade 2.0, except in fact, you can argue that the trade might have been worse because we traded for a 3rd round pick and a guy that I hate.
Yeah, but so I don't remember what you traded to the Washington at the time, but I do remember that with the Bengals it involved multiple 1st round picks. So that's not quite the same as Adam Troutman.
I don't care.
But the reason I care though is because we could have had multiple 1st round picks, but instead we wanted Akili Smith, which look, I've said this before. I actually think David Klingler, out of quarterback busts that the Bengals took in the 90s, I actually think David Klingler was the worst player. Akili Smith had the worst attitude and was, overall probably an overall worse general presence for the team. But the real biggest issue with Akili Smith was the fact that, what could have been if we had just made that trade. Especially, like I said, because other than Akili Smith, around that time, the Bengals started getting pretty good at drafting. Maybe not that year, but they it wasn't too much longer. They started getting pretty good at drafting, and they set up the Marvin Lewis, Carson Palmer years. And then they let guys like Justin Smith go in free agency because they're stupid, and now we're doing the same shit with Trey Hendrickson. But whatever.
I know a team down in New Orleans that would love Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, we all already had him, and you let him go.
Okay, well, we can. People get chances to redeem themselves.
Adam Schefter, I think it's Schefter, it might be Ian Rappaport, one of those two, said that they still believe that the Bengals will get the deal done with Trey Hendrickson, and like, just I don't just get the deal done, Bengals. Like, I don't understand how you can possibly think you're going to improve the defense with the moves you've made on defense this offseason by getting rid of Trey Hendrickson. Like, you barely touched the defense at all this offseason. You drafted Shamar Stewart, who is in the middle of a contract dispute. And no. He could. Shamar Stewart could be all right if he's a Sam Hubbard replacement, but if he's a Trey Hendrickson replacement, you're fucked. All right, that's just the. Or if next year it's Shamar Stewart and Miles Murphy. Like, I still like Miles Murphy. Okay, maybe he's not going to end up living up to his first round billing, but he also hasn't really had a lot of opportunity to either. So I don't know. We'll see. But he's not going to be Trey. Miles Murphy is not going to be Trey Hendrickson. He's just not. So if like Shamar Stewart, okay, if you're bringing back Trey Hendrickson, but if you're not, then you're absolutely. I cannot understand for the life of me what you were thinking. But
okay,
yeah. So that's it, right? We did all the teams.
Yeah.
Did all the teams of the AFC. Next week we'll do the NFC, and maybe we might. Maybe take a Saints player at some point. Maybe.
Yes, we will.
Maybe.
Because Chris Olave's that best receiver. No, never mind.
No, he's not.
Exists. Let me shut up.
No, he's not. We'll talk about this next week.
He would if Derek Carr didn't hate him.
Okay.
Bro, when I saw Spencer Rattler throw that pass yesterday, bro, I want to jump through the screen and choke Spencer Rattler out.
I don't know what pass you're talking about.
Bro, he's lucky it was only in training camp or OTAs or whatever they call it. Because if there was another defender, Chris Olave would have got killed again.
Oh.
Another hospital. Why do we keep getting quarterbacks that hate Chris Olave?
So
what did Chris Olave do to the world?
So you're out on Spencer Rattler now.
I never said that. But my thing is, no matter who our quarterback is, Chris Olave just keeps getting the concussion balls. It's like, dang, can y'all just throw a pass here, and not here?
Okay.
Here, in the hands, not.
All right. So anyway, that's it for this week, I think. So next week we'll do the NFC teams.
Should we let them know about the threesome? I guess.
Okay. First of all, we're not going to say it that way.
Why?
It's not. I do not. He's talking about a potential episode with Thomas next week, and I don't want to talk about that with Thomas or you. More you, honestly, because you're 16 or something. Like, you know, I mean, like, I don't want to think about that with Thomas, but I really don't want to think about that with you.
Bro, I didn't even mean it like that. Oh my god, bro.
Just no.
I didn't even mean it like that.
That's.
Bro, I didn't mean it like that, bro.
Use words mean things.
I meant to say like the 3-1, but you know, I meant to say like 3-1.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna move on from this now. Yeah. So I guess we can talk about that. I don't really know what's happening next week because my schedule is gonna be wonky because of this this summer thing that I'm doing. But Thomas wants to do an episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast next week. And so I don't know. We may be doing kind of like a joint episode between these two episodes next week. I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on everybody's schedule. But that probably gonna because Thomas really wants to talk about the Browns quarterback situation. That's what he wants to get on for. Which is, to be fair, something worth talking about. But yeah, that's again. I don't really have concrete details on that, but that's probably going to be something like that happening next week. So, yeah. Anyway, that I think is going to be it for this week. So I'll leave y'all as always with Who Dey. Sign Trey Hendrickson.
Okay, who that?